RITC Cybersecurity, empowering businesses with robust cybersecurity protection.
Welcome to the Ciphered Reality Podcast for ITC Cybersecurity, small businesses partner in proactive cybersecurity. I am Mike Rotundo. Here with me is a guest host, Nikki Rodriguez, one of the support and sales team. Mari is taking a couple episodes off. Today, we're going to unravel the mysteries of cybersecurity one bite at a time. We explore digital heists, hacker exploits, uncover online threats, and the strategies to stay ahead. Whether you're an IT pro, business owner, or just safeguarding your personal stuff, this is your guide to the cyber world. Today, we are going to go through some cybersecurity news and discuss what, Nikki?
Today, we are going to discuss some news, and then our topic of the week is going to be on secure credit card payments, since once again, we're in the holiday season and a lot of that is going on. And we're going to discuss a little later on in the podcast about the PCI and what it is and what they do and how that keeps us nice and safe as consumers.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So let's see. First story. So this one I found on, it's actually a new website that I found that I really like called thehackernews.com. It's got some great stories on there. This one I really liked because I feel like most of us, if not all of us as a population, have used WhatsApp. So this one is called Python-based WhatsApp worm spreads Eternidad stealer across Brazilian devices. So in this story, cybersecurity researchers have disclosed details of a new campaign that leverages a combination of social engineering and WhatsApp hijacking to distribute a Delphi-based banking Trojan named Eternidad, that's what we're calling it.
Yep.
Stealeris, the other word, okay, that they made up, part of attacks targeting users in Brazil. And it says, quote, it uses Internet Message Access Protocol, IMAP, to dynamically retrieve command and control C2 addresses, allowing the threat actor to update its C2 server. Trustware Spider Lab researchers said in a technical breakdown of the campaign shared with the Hacker News. Quote, it is distributed through WhatsApp Worm campaign with the actor now deploying a Python script, a shift from previous PowerShell-based scripts to hijack WhatsApp and spread malicious attachments. The findings come close on the heels of another campaign dubbed Water Saki that has targeted Brazilian users with a worm that propagates via WhatsApp web known as
Sorvoportal,
which then acts as a conduit for Maverick, a .NET banking Trojan that's assessed to be an evolution of a .NET banking malware dubbed Coyote.
Yep.
That's a lot.
So yeah, that is a lot. So what they're saying in that sense is basically they're just copying an older Trojan and they're copying an older way of doing this and they're just improving on it and making it work for these guys. So I think I just realized this is Brazil, so those are probably Portuguese words, which is why we can't get them.
Oh, yeah, it is Brazil, so that absolutely would make sense.
Yeah. So, but anyway, no, it's pretty fascinating what they're doing, and this right now is geographically controlled to Brazil, but as with anything else, if it's successful there, they'll move it on, and that's the way it is. It's just like you start a software here or a band starts in the US, it gets
Right.
big, it moves somewhere else. So, I mean, that's just the nature of the beast.
Well, I mean, and WhatsApp obviously is international. I worked on a military base for 3.5 years, and all my friends, when they would get deployed, that's how you literally
Yeah.
half our military members, that's how they're communicating with their families and friends. So
Mhm.
that's pretty crazy because, yeah, it's definitely international. I mean, I know that for a fact from being the user of it and talking to friends that I have in Germany and all sorts of places, like how we communicate.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Well, and I know a lot of the what are they called? The cyber stalkers,
mhm,
the honey trap
yeah,
people down LinkedIn that they always want to get you on WhatsApp. They always want to get you on WhatsApp. So then, they want you to look at their pictures and they want you to do this and they want you to send them pictures and then they're sending malware with steganography and the whole nine yards. So WhatsApp is a convenient tool for that, for them.
yeah, absolutely. It's pretty interesting because I think a lot of like common users think that it's secure because they're like, oh, it's encrypted. So their minds,
Hmm.
so like an everyday person, they hear the word encrypted, like encrypted is safe.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no. It's just like thinking Telegram is safe, just thinking Signal is safe. That stuff
That's
exists
exactly right.
somewhere. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And like I said, yeah, same thing. Signal is used by a lot of our military members
Hmm.
overseas as a means for communication when they're on, missions where they can't really communicate via text or other ways with family members and friends. And so I think that's something that people obviously, especially after seeing this story, really need to be aware of. Those types of apps are just not always safe, and you still have to safeguard and protect yourself and be careful with what information is shared on there. Yeah, kind of scary.
Yeah.
But yeah,
The safest rule of thumb is you don't want to put anything, especially an SMS, that you wouldn't shout from a rooftop. So,
yeah, right, exactly. Yes, exactly. So, all the people that are paranoid are like, there's someone always listening. Well, technically there always is.
yeah, even on Signal, even on, yeah, I mean, how many times do you see a court case where someone's like, "Oh yeah, we use the Signal communications to
Yes.
track them down."
I mean, we saw the fault of our own government and the
Yes.
downfall of that. So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, so that should
Yeah.
be a big indicator to the common user that, hey, this is not what you think it is.
Right.
And so protect yourself
Right.
clearly. Okay. Our next story today, this one's coming from a site called securityweek.com that I found. 2-year-old Ray AI framework flaw exploited in ongoing campaign. We love our AI stories.
Yes, we do.
So this one starts by saying, maintained by any scale, Ray is an open source framework for scaling Python-based AI and ML applications. Ray clusters can be deployed into the cloud to scale workloads and should be secured and isolated in safe network environments, as the framework does not implement authentication.
Right.
The issue tracked a CVE 2023 48022 uh, CVSS score 9.8 allows remote unauthenticated attackers to execute arbitrary code via frameworks jobs API. Any scale disputed the bug, pointing out that Ray's documentation clearly states that clusters should not be used outside controlled network environments, but said last year it would implement login and authentication mechanisms in future releases. However, it wasn't until Oligo discovered that hundreds of Ray clusters had been compromised in a data theft campaign dubbed Shadow Ray that maintainers revisited their stance on authentication. Now, 2 years after CVE 2023 48002 was publicly disclosed, and a year and a half after that Shadow Ray campaign was discovered, multiple threat actors are exploiting Ray's lack of authentication to abuse internet accessible clusters, Oligo reports.
Yeah. It's pretty scary. I mean, you really need to have AI secured, first of all. And it's a 2-year-old vulnerability. I mean, and that's how you know it's what year that vulnerability is from by it's
Yes.
2023 dash whatever.
Yeah.
And it's a 9.8. And the biggest concern I see in here is that A, it's starting to be adopted. B, it's been propagated out there that this thing is available. But it's the sophistication. They're able to move laterally to all nodes in a cluster. They can, only have to infect one. And so it's pretty scary. And then, their way of maintaining it too, with everything keeping in GitLab. Um, I mean, that's a version control server that puts things out there so anybody can go grab it from anywhere as long as you get the right login. And it's just it's scary. It's amazing how sophisticated these guys are getting now.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like as you go on to read this, I'm kind of looking at it in the next paragraph. It says,
Yeah.
as part of the fresh campaign dubbed Shadow Ray 2.0, multiple threat actors have been abusing the flaw to take over computing resources as part of a crypto mining operations.
Mhm.
One adversary named Iron Earn 440 has been using Ray's legitimate orchestration features to autonomously propagate their cryptojacking activity.
Mhm.
So that's, yeah,
It, it's a
pretty
big
interesting,
deal.
actually.
Yeah, I mean, and a while ago, I think it was a couple years ago, they actually came out with a statistic is that somewhere between 10 and 15% of all data center power is actually crypto mining that is being hijacked, jumped on other
Oh,
people's
wow.
computers.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of scary.
yeah. So, I mean, that's why, all these people are like, oh, I don't have anything they want to steal. It's like, no, you got compute power. They may want to steal that for crypto mining. You may be some crypto miner that they don't even know anything about.
So is this a case where the AI is just given one solidified job and they train the AI just for this and that's its sole purpose?
I'm not exactly sure what this AI is for,
Hmm.
because it's an AI tool.
Okay.
It's but it's an open source frameworks for scaling Python-based AI and ML applications. So it's actually not I mean, it's a flaw in AI that's
Got it.
Python-based. So I think this could be any AI.
So anyone. Okay.
Yeah.
Any
But
open
Ray,
source AI.
yeah, but Ray clusters is a framework for scaling it. So basically, you're going to set up a cluster of servers and use this framework to be able to scale up, production and increase productivity and that sort of thing. So that's what the scale up is. Um, so and then clusters work by this server does this, and when it gets a little bit busy, it kicks over to the other one, and then they load balance off, and so it's all shared. Or
Okay.
then you have hot and cold clusters where you have this cluster's active and it's warm and the other one's warm. If this one were to go, the idea is for redundancy. So this one goes down, the other one automatically picks up.
Okay. More scary stuff
Oh, yeah.
with AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says Oligo notes the payloads from GitLab are likely to be AI generated based on its structure, comments, and error handling patterns. Attackers are now using AI to generate attack code targeting AI infrastructure.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great world we live in.
Well, like we've talked about, AI is a double-edged sword. So
Yes, it is.
it just depends whose hands it gets into,
Right.
honestly. In this case, it got into bad actors' hands again,
Yeah.
clearly,
Again.
unfortunately. So,
And
anyways,
we'll continue to.
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just the way it is at this point, and it's just a matter of playing catch up to how do we stop it from occurring.
Yeah.
That's probably a long ways off from us learning that completely, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right, our next one. This one is from cybersecuritynews.com, which we use a lot. We like that site. Um, I liked this one. A new ransomware threat named The Gentleman has emerged in the cybersecurity landscape, demonstrating advanced attack capabilities and well-structured operational model. First appearing around July 2025, so this is really new. This group quickly established itself as a serious threat, publishing 48 victims on the dark web leak site between September and October. The ransomware operates as ransomware as a service platform, allowing affiliates to deploy attacks while the core operations maintain control over the infrastructure and negotiation process. The gentleman employs a dual extortion strategy that combines file encryption with data theft. This approach not only locks victims out of their system, but also creates additional pressure by threatening to release stolen information on the dark web leak sites unless ransom demands are met.
Hmm.
Cyber reason security researchers identified that ransomware targets Windows, Linux, ESXi platforms with specialized encryption tools. The malware uses XCHA20, okay,
Yep.
and Curve 25519 encryption algorithms to secure files, making recovery without the decryption key extremely difficult. The
Hmm.
ransomware spreads across networks using Windows management, instrumentation, and PowerShell remoting techniques. When executed, the malware requires a password argument to begin its encryption routine. It supports multiple operation modes, including system level encryption under system privileges and network share encryption through map drives and UNC paths. This is crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And the other thing is it disables Windows Defender. So, it's got
Oh my
that
gosh.
going through there. So, this is pretty insidious. But here's the reality.
Yeah,
Anybody that encrypts your data or steals your data is always going to release your data. If you pay
right.
for it, you pay for it. That means you may mean you get your data back. It doesn't mean they're destroying the data. It's going out to the dark web anyway.
Yeah,
It's
regardless.
getting sold out there. They're going to make money on it. So,
Right.
They're known for doing it this way, but I would venture to say that 9 times out of 10, that's actually what happens anyway. So
Right.
now there's a lot of people that just do ransomware and they don't exfil the data, or they um, maybe don't tell the user they've exfilled the data. But if they're stealing your data, it's getting onto the internet.
So it's better probably just not to pay the ransom or give in either way.
Well, that's the funny thing. So the FBI says don't because you're sponsoring terrorism, which we both know that's the case, right?
Right.
The IRS says you can write it off as a business expense.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
Yeah. So
I just I don't understand that a lot.
yeah, you can write off extortion as a business expense. It just, and then the other problem with that is there's a whole not middleware, but middleman cottage industry that has spotted up, that spun up, which is these people that negotiate with the hackers to get data back and to do, to get paid and facilitate. And of course, they take a cut. Now, are they taking a cut from both the hacker and the hacky, the victim? Or, I mean, what are
Yeah,
they doing? That would be my belief is that they probably, in some way, because they have all these connections,
right,
may be involved. And that's,
right.
maybe I'm just a little paranoid and really don't have the greatest view of human nature sometimes, but um, it's just a little suspicious to me. Or maybe these middlemen are actually the hackers themselves.
Yeah, posing.
Yep.
Yeah,
And they're taking all of it. So I
yeah.
don't know.
I'm actually I kind of am on your side on that. That's how my brain, works as well, but also my degrees in criminology and criminal
Yeah.
justice. Like, we cover a lot of this. And so I feel like unfortunately that's probably more so the case on that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Just I mean, either way, obviously now moving forward, they're gonna have to figure out how to stop this.
Yeah.
And in the meanwhile, I guess it's just up to individual how they handle, their situation. I mean, if it was me, I'm kind of a jerk. I'd tell them to, whatever, kick rocks.
Yeah.
I would laugh. Like, you're
Yeah.
not getting anything from me. Go for it. I'm not scared. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've got nothing to show, so enjoy.
I mean, yeah. And at the end of the day, like, obviously, like you're saying, you said it's also taking down, what was it, Windows Defender. So
Yeah.
even if you're trying to put up obviously safeguards and safe walls for
Hmm.
yourself, it's still being able to penetrate through that. So it's not like it's completely you're at fault when it's happening if you have enough safeguards in place, but it is what it is. So I mean,
No.
I look at it as like you said, I look at it from like who's the bad actor standpoint, and I just am in complete refusal of giving them any type of
No,
money
yeah, I'm right there with you. Yeah, it's just,
money at all. Yeah, when I was taking classes on it, so it was pretty fascinating. It's like terrorist organizations.
uh-huh.
People don't realize it's like actual terrorist organizations, like
Yeah,
major
100%.
organizations are doing this. And
Yeah, you're
I
paying for ISIS, you're paying for,
literally, yeah,
yeah,
they're hiring people, like we were saying, and they're making money off of it. And then it goes to, yeah, ISIS, Hamas, all these different big terrorist organizations. It's pretty crazy actually when you get into it. So yeah, I'm of the
so,
standpoint of I refuse to give in.
yeah. So, unfortunately, the most common delivery model for something like this
Uh-huh.
is a user. So, an exploited user. So, someone that clicks on a phishing email, someone that clicks on a link they're not supposed to, someone that looks at a PDF that they're not supposed to. Um, And so that's their best way in. There's no frontal assault with this. They're using phishing techniques or social engineering or something to get
For
in there
this
and get around
specific
it.
one, this is what they're using.
For most of them, yeah. But this
Yeah.
one, yeah, that's how, I mean, because it doesn't talk about kicking down a front door anywhere. It doesn't talk about exploiting something. It's just literally, so
Right.
this is probably phishing, spear phishing, whale phishing, what have you. But
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. So it's just educating people on how to be cautious and protect themselves.
well, it's security training, right? If so, for your users, if you're a company, you need to have them security training. You have to have them,
Yeah.
have them have phishing training and phishing simulations happening, and not cheap out on the training and that kind of thing. So
Yeah, I mean, we were talking like last week, the story where it was talking about like Microsoft Teams that so
Hmm.
many people, I mean, major Fortune 500 companies are using. And we are talking about the exploit they're doing on there where they're able to, get into the actual messages and make it look as though, CEO is reaching out to someone or whatever.
Hmm.
And I think it's just, yeah, like you said, training your employees. Like if it sounds funny or doesn't sound right, it's probably not right.
Right.
It's like a simple rule of thumb.
Right.
But I think maybe some people just, because they're busy with their day, aren't stopping and thinking of that. So yes, I think it's proper security training for
So
sure.
what's funny, there's a funny story is that, you get the flip side of this because you get some people that are trained up and they're so paranoid that they contact you about everything. And I had one the other day where the lady's like, "Oh my God, I can't get into Outlook. It's asking me to make a change." And it's like, all right, so we go, and she's like, "I changed my Google password." So then this all of a sudden this happened. So we went through it, went through it, went through it, and then finally I was looking at her machine, and it's like, no, Windows just updated the Outlook tool on your laptop and wanted you to approve the new, rules on it. That's all. That's all it was. So,
She
but
sounds like me.
yeah, but I mean, it's better safe than sorry. You really
You and
want to,
Mari sent me an email for like a class, whatever. I'm like, is that real before I click
yeah,
on it?
yeah, yeah.
That's me. I'm in the over paranoid
No,
basket.
hey, it's better to be over paranoid than,
Would rather be over paranoid.
yeah, trusting is what they're counting on.
I trust no one. I'm like, is this real? Is this a real email? I'm not touching this until I ask. Like, that's
Right there
me.
with you.
I'm
Yep,
that
right there
person.
with you.
But again, I'd rather. So yeah, for this story, I think that's really like we're saying what it comes down to is security training and making people aware. And people are just unfortunately still pretty naive, even in this day and age, with
Yeah.
years and years of this going on since what, like the 90s
Yes.
when the internet began. So it's kind of unfortunate, but that's where we're at. So on that note, our next story. Cyber threat roundup, Akira ransomware, 0-day vulnerabilities, and more. And this comes from healthcarenews.com. This was one that I found. It just looked interesting.
Hmm.
This one starts by saying CISA and its partners have a new warning for small and medium-sized healthcare organizations who should beware of some recently discovered exploits. CISA and the American Hospital Association this week offered hospitals and health systems updated guidance to defend against a new threat from Akira ransomware. The agency also released alerts for application security teams, including some needed patches for actively exploited Fortnite devices and Microsoft operating system vulnerabilities. Akira, a lucrative cyber attack software service in operation since 2023, has been used in attacks on small to medium sized businesses and critical infrastructure entities. As of late September, the group claimed that it amassed approximately $244.17 million in ransomware proceeds. That's a big number.
Yeah.
Following recent attacks, CISA, the FBI, Department of Defense Cybercrime Center, and Department of Health and Human Services, and international partners said healthcare and public health organizations, among others, in education, information technologies, financial services, and others, are stepping up their attacks on VMware,
Hmm.
Elastic SkyX integrated ESXi virtual machines using encrypted new, am I going to say this right? Nutanix?
Teutonic.
Yeah, AHV VM disk files for the first time. Threat actors using Akira are expanding on their past focus of Linux variant targeting. They are recommending mitigation to reduce the likelihood of impact of Akira ransomware incidents.
Yep.
That's crazy.
So VMware, you know what that is, right? I mean, those are virtual machines. And
Yes.
ESXi host is a big box that holds a bunch of virtual machines. So
Mhm.
that's what that is. But yeah, so that's what they're targeting. So um, what's interesting is that it doesn't seem like they're going after the operating system of the VMs. They're going after the ESXi host itself, which is always what everybody forgets to secure because they're always like, it's just a host, and what can happen to it? Well, no,
Mhm.
it's connected to the internet, and if you take down it, you can take down everything else.
So that's their way of infiltrating to get into the rest of the systems.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Or,
actually pretty scary.
that's where you can use the ransomware on it because you just all of a sudden you encrypt that ESXi host and all of a sudden you can't get into it. And
That's
so
insane.
there used to be rules back in the day. You didn't go after hospitals. And now you have those ransomware gangs like we just talked about, like the gentleman a little bit ago.
Yeah.
They go after hospitals. And I mean, imagine,
Yes.
the one exception to paying ransom is typically, if you get a hospital down, they won't pay most of the time because they need their systems back.
Yes.
But they also have a lot of lax IT in even large hospital systems because it's just, I mean, this is the way they are. So they don't pay in hospitals for whatever reason because, they claim the margin's low. But, we know that most of the hospitals now are for profit. I mean, you go to some of the hospital chains here, the first thing they ask you is, how's your credit rating, So,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. Yeah, I wrote a paper in school on the healthcare systems being targeted and how that's a new big thing.
mhm.
And all the things that they can do, what they can get into and hijack. We've kind of talked about that. They can even get into like an IV drip,
Yep.
pacemakers, like
Yeah.
insane things you would never even
Oh,
think
yeah.
of. It's crazy. And if people don't think it's going to get worse, if they want to do like a real terror attack on
Oh,
us
yeah.
and really exploit us, I mean, they can literally, it'll get to the point where it's actual health that
Oh,
is
yeah.
being put
Yeah.
at stake. And
Yeah.
so I think that's like where we need to be hyper aware. So I'm glad that all these agencies are like stepping up, like, hey, you need to get it together. Like
Yeah.
it's
Well, it's
time,
just, it,
guys.
it's like all those little discs that like diabetics wear that,
Yes,
oh yeah, we can tell your blood sugar right away. It's also a geo tracker. It's
that's exactly
also,
right.
it's, why do you need to know where my location, time zone, address are for you to check my sugar?
Oh,
You
that's
don't
right.
need to
Yeah.
know that.
Medical devices that are connected to people, pacemakers, those
Yeah.
people don't realize that that's a vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
That's
100%.
you're just not even thinking because you're just thinking about, I use this for my health to keep me alive.
Right.
And you're not thinking like that's unfortunately, well, our brains work that way. Like there's seedy people out there that are constantly looking, they don't care. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're just looking to make a buck. So,
Right.
this organization, another terrorist organization is doing that.
Yeah.
And now they've found another way to do it through these, through virtual.
Yeah.
And virtual machines are one thing, and it's just like we're saying, this is going to keep going into more and more. And so I'm like even reading down further in this story, it says CISA added the unknown exploited vulnerability. Let's see, CVE 2025-6446 to the catalog on Friday. This type of vulnerability is a frequent attack vector for malicious cyber actors. The agency said the alert assigning federal agencies to the follow companies remediation processes. CISA added that it strongly urges all vulnerabilities as part of their vulnerability management practice. All,
Yeah.
my aunt used to say when we were kids, all means all, and that's all means.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. You'd be amazed at how many people ignore them. And it's like, oh, what am I going to do with the criticals? It's like, yeah, well, mediums can be exploitable. So that's what you need to focus on. So,
yeah, yeah, pretty scary. So for the
so
healthcare industry, and this, in the story, it actually points out the fact that it's small to medium size. This isn't just the big ones.
yeah,
That this is specifically, and it pulled $244 million just
yeah,
from small health organizations.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
pretty scary.
All right. What we got another story?
We have one more story here. This one also came from the Hacker News. Like I said, I like that site now. Coney hackers turned Google's Find Hub into remote data wiping weapon. And this one reads, the North Korea affiliated threat actor known as Coney, aka Earth Imp, Opal Sleep, Osmium TA406, and Vidalia, has been attributed to new set of attacks targeting both Android and Windows devices. I just got rid of my Android, but I have Windows, sorry. Devices for data theft and remote control. This says, quote, attackers impersonated psychological counselors and North Korean human rights activists distributing malware disguised as a stress relief programs.
Oh yeah.
What? That's crazy.
Well, I mean, that's what they do. It's like this one black hat hacker that I talked to, the mercenary. He's like, yeah, we create, fake delivery companies. And it's like you have a package coming, blah, blah, blah. And like, you can track your delivery here, just download our app, or you can just click on this link and it'll, track your delivery. And it's just loading them up with malware.
Yeah, this says what's notable about attacks targeting Android devices is also the destructive ability of the threat actors to exploit Google's asset tracking services.
Yeah.
Find, yeah, Find Hub, formerly Find My Device, to remotely reset victims' devices, thereby leading to the unauthorized deletion of personal data. The activity was detected in early September 2025. So this is new.
Oh, brand new.
That's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, that's pretty
Yeah.
impersonating people as counselors and human rights activists.
Well, that, and they're also apparently impersonating tax services. So, I mean, it's like the National Tax Service deceive recipients. You'd be amazed at how many people get don't know that, the National Tax Service doesn't exist. It's the IRS, and it's,
Oh, like they're framing themselves as an
yeah,
organization.
and, IRS doesn't send text. It also doesn't send email. It
No.
sends letters.
Yes, I remember when that started.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, like I know that one of the biggest populations they target is the elderly.
Yeah, 100%.
Um, a lot of those schemes, as we know, unfortunately, target the elderly because they're probably out of our whole population, you know, the least educated on this type of stuff,
Right.
which we somehow got it together and found a way to better educate our older population so we could better protect them
Yeah.
because that's definitely probably, yeah, who's even with this, probably more so, the 65 plus crowd that is not used to technology and they're taking advantage of that,
Well, and
unfortunately.
they target them specifically also because they make them hurry, they make them panic, they make them do, they
Right.
have to react right now. And some of these people are just scared of their own shadow, so they don't, someone tried to get after my dad and he's like, he was on the phone. He's like, hold on, I'm in a conference with my son. He owns a cybersecurity company. And it's like, click.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember it was funny. I had one of the Apple ones when they're doing the Apple phone calls and
Yeah.
like, oh, I need your Apple ID. So I had my Apple device, I had my iPhone for years, switched back to Android. So obviously I'm not using an Apple device, but the majority of people do. So they're just reaching out to whoever they can fish and
Hmm.
get, right? So they called me one day and the guy said to me, he goes, yeah, I need your Apple ID, this and that. I forget what this, it was like, some serious problem. He's like, we need to access this, and that. I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm like playing along and go, you do? And so he's like, do you know your Apple ID? This and he's asking me for my Apple information, which I don't even have anymore because it was on an Android. And so
Right.
I'm just giving him random stuff. And he goes, ma'am, this is serious. Like, do you have a computer that you can get to right now? I said,
Uh-huh.
no. And I go, I live under a freeway overpass. And he goes, what? I go, I'm homeless. I don't have any. And he goes, what? And I go, yeah. And finally he got mad and hung up on
Oh,
me
yeah.
when he realized I was messing with him.
I had a guy that called to claim that he was PayPal, and I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I need you to download this on your phone in order so we can fix your email. And it's like, why would that fix my email? Well, I just need to be able to have this control on there. I said, why? Why? What kind of phone do you have? I said, Android. I have Apple. And it was like, actually, I think it's a Galaxy or something like that.
Yeah.
And it just went back and forth. And I said, what do you need? How do you need it? How are you going to fix it? He's like, you just have to trust me, sir. I was like, no, the hell I
You
am.
just have to trust me.
Yeah.
What a lion.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, yes,
So,
let's do this. I don't know you. You're some random person calling from a random number.
yeah, I mean, how many people just say, just trust me? I mean, it's like the oldest story in the book, right? Trust me, no problem. Nothing, no harm will come to you at all.
Well, yeah, it's pretty funny. And it's funny, like, the people handing over their, Apple phone information. It's like,
Mhm.
you hear like, oh, Apple's really hard to hack and get into. Well, not if you're giving up your information to people.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
That's how they get
Exactly.
it. No, stop talking.
Yeah.
Stop sharing your info. Yeah.
All right.
So
Let's talk about some PCI. What do you think?
sure. So I had to actually educate myself on this. And pretty interesting. I didn't know what PCI is. I'll look my notes of what I got. I looked it up.
Okay.
So PCI, it's actually PCI DSS,
Mhm.
and it's basically the credit card payment security, and what it's governed by is payment card industry data security standard.
Right.
So all the major credit card companies, this is who governs them, and these are the standards that they have to abide by.
Hmm.
Um, Literally for security and safety. So PCI DSS is a set security standards created by major credit card brands, Visa, MasterCard, we know all
Hmm.
those, to protect the security of the cardholder data. And then it applies to all entities that store, process, or transmit cardholder data, which includes merchants, service providers, and payment processors.
Right.
So any business, anyone that's doing business that is processing credit cards, this is who is applicable to this. And it's to create a safe environment that reduces the risk of data breaches, basically, and fraud,
Yeah.
which obviously doesn't work always, but
Right.
we know that. So yeah, I actually didn't know who governed it and did that. So I learned about it. So what are
And
your
amazing stuff.
thoughts and feelings?
Huh?
So what are your thoughts and feelings? Like what are ways that they safeguard, or like what are they putting
Oh,
specifically?
so PCI is critical, and it used to be back in the good old days when I started doing it, when it first came out, you had businesses that had what's called a CDE, credit card data environment, which would have these massive farms of credit card data.
Hmm.
And the reason that they started PCI DSS came out was because every time one of those guys got hacked, because it wasn't stored properly, it wasn't encrypted, it wasn't, there was no pen tests in the area,
Right.
all that kind of stuff. It was a fire drill for them, the brand managers, because they had to get it all cleaned up. And then they, transitioned to the merchants because every time a credit card is stolen, they just automatically reimburse the person that gets their stuff stolen. And then, there's no repercussion for the vendor. There's no incentive to secure themselves. Well, now there
Right.
is because of PCI DSS. Because I once worked for a company that was getting initially it was like $5,000 a month in fines because they weren't secure properly, and then PCI came back and said we're bumping it to $50,000 a month unless you get fixed in the next 12 months.
Yeah, so I
So
was reading that the fines are insane for the people that
yes,
are not in compliance. It was like tens of thousands up until like $1 million, depending
yeah,
on what the violation is. So I mean,
yeah.
like that might, light a fire under your butt to get it correct as
Well,
much as possible.
yeah, no, and we were sitting in a meeting one time, and with the PCI auditor, and um, we were sitting there, and the guy's like, "You have to get this done. You have to get this fixed." Well, the operations guys are like, "We can't afford it. We don't have the budget for it." And the head of legal sits
Better
there
find
and,
one.
and looks at me and goes, looks at the CFO and goes, "What did we make last year?" The guy's like, 6 billion. And she's like, "And how much is it going to cost to get us PCI compliant?" 250,000. Okay, I
Chump
can't
change.
defend in court that we didn't have the money to do it. I'm sorry. There's
Right,
just no way we will get slaughtered. So spend the 250 and get it done.
right,
So we did. We had a massive, massive job of getting all that done. And, in some of these companies, this was a big company that still acted like a little company. Well, that's not the way we do it. Well, it's the way we do it now.
right.
So, yeah. So,
Yeah. And then some of this says, well, the card holder themselves too can protect themselves,
right.
obviously. Um, uh, like passwords, we talked about that just with anything, like changing your
Hmm.
passwords often, like multi authentication. Like people get frustrated with that,
Hmm.
and I get it. Like it's painful to have to do so many authenticators, but I would rather do that honestly to protect
Yeah.
myself. You know what I mean? If that's what it means. Um,
And we don't recommend using the SMS version unless that's all there is. You're much better off with an authenticator app because SMS is just plain text flying through the air.
right. That yeah. So I mean, I use my authenticator.
Yep.
I started doing that for obviously those reasons as well. So there's stuff obviously on the end of the user, but the person that is the entity that's processing also needs to have firewalls in place. It's
Mhm.
encrypted data. Um, Thing I read here where it says to make sure like software is correctly updated. That's
Oh
another way
yeah.
that they can breach as well. Which I didn't even think about that. That's actually pretty smart. And then just obviously educating employees.
Yep.
Shoot, I remember back in the day, remember when you used to have the credit card and it was like the actual paper?
Oh yeah.
And
The swipers.
yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that as a kid. I
Oh, I
actually
remember.
remember those.
I remember having to look up in the little book to see if the credit card number was there, if it had been stolen before running it.
That's so
Remember
it's
those?
yes,
Yeah.
we've gone a long ways, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. It was this little pamphlet, and you're like, 5327, 5325. Oh, crap. And then it's like, yeah.
Which almost makes you wonder, like, which way is actually safer, the old school paper way or this, or are they both just as dangerous in their own way?
I, well, then you have the problem of like, I ran into a client that we had that, so that they sold seminars. And then they would go and do these big conferences and they would sell seminars there. Well, they would handwrite people's credit cards on their sign up sheets and then
Mhm.
re-enter them later instead of entering them at the booth with, a stripe or whatever.
Right.
Well, I just asked a simple question is, what are you doing with that paper? And they were just silence. Like,
Oh
are
no.
you throwing it away? Are you shredding it? Are you storing? What are you doing with it? And they're like, we don't know. We don't have any controls. We don't have any process around that. We honestly don't know. It's like, okay, that's a problem. Because, and how long have you been
Yeah.
doing this? 10 years. Great.
Oh
Awesome.
no. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. And it's not like it was being regulated in the same way, obviously.
No, but I mean, so be careful when someone wants to write down your credit card number,
Oh
even the
yeah.
last four. And, you always have to look for that lock symbol on, the
Yes.
URL to make sure it's secured and that sort of thing. Because if you don't,
Yes.
you
We
don't
talked about that
know
last week.
what it
Yes.
is.
Yeah. I mean, and then so if the company is so obviously when you get have fraudulent charges, whatever, I
Mhm.
think probably all of us has probably experienced that, unfortunately,
Oh, yeah.
in this age at some point in time. I know I have sadly a couple times, a few times actually, some big ones. I talked about that last week. So now is it when you turn it into your card, the card company, um, do they have they're reporting it to PCI? Is that how it goes, or how does that go now for them to be in compliance?
Well, PCI compliance is that you get audited annually. Okay. So
So
you
they're
come
seeing
in,
when those flawed claims are coming in.
there's these guys called QSAs that come in and they audit. They're firms that do nothing but PCI compliance that are affiliated with PCI DSS. And they
Okay.
come in and they audit you and make sure that you meet these 11 requirements and all these sub requirements. And you go through and it's everything from the network to data storage to everything else. Now, if you're a small company,
Yeah.
and you're just using a payment processor. So you're running a Stripe and it's going up, and you have to, every year you fill out an assessment attesting to the fact that you're meeting all of these requirements. So that's generally how that works, is that, so that's why, so depending on the side of the companies aren't storing data anymore,
Yeah.
as little as possible because the cost is astronomical.
Okay.
The biggest challenge I've ever had is you get these dumb salespeople out there, no offense to the salespeople listening, that, some customers are like, well, I need to make sure you're PCI compliant. No problem, sir. We'll be 100% PCI compliant in 3 months. Well, you're a massive international company. There's no way in hell. There's no way in hell you're going to be PCI certified in 3 months, especially if you haven't been, right, ever
Right.
before. So,
So
yeah.
that's why I'm always nervous too. Like when people ask for like credit card payment over the phone, I'm like, I don't want to say my card number.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
same thing with like social security. I'm like, what over the phone makes me uncomfortable unless I know for a fact what entity I'm speaking to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just some random like
Exactly.
this is a little weird right
Yeah.
now. It's yeah.
100%.
So, and I mean, I know like from what I was reading, if an entity is not compliant or is found to not be compliant, it's not just fines, they can actually lose their ability to be able to
Oh,
process credit cards.
100%. Yeah. That's exactly what happens.
And what do you do?
Yeah, you're pretty much host at that point because you
That's
can't
it.
do business.
Don't have a business anymore. They're literally taking away your means to be able to run a business because it's
Mhm.
not like we're not cash is king anymore in our
Yeah.
society. So like it's
Oh, you should
pretty.
see the fun because I carry cash and people are be like,
I do too.
I was at a Thai restaurant and I ordered lunch and it came to like $23. And I said, "Do you have change for a 50?" And she said, I think so. So I pull out a 50 and outside of the tip, I got like four or three fives and the rest in ones and I was like, give me a break. But, you know, as a matter of fact, I go to AJ's every Sunday morning and I'll get a latte and
Yeah.
a couple other things, but I'll pay them with a 50 and they're like, really? It's 6:30 in the morning on a Sunday. We don't have any cash. Can you just pay with a credit
I
card? And
mean,
it's
I work in a restaurant part time, so I that's why I always have cash on me and I
yeah,
prefer. But a lot of businesses now are just in full refusal and only do
yeah,
card payment. Like that's a really big thing too. Even when you go in a grocery store line, there's
yeah,
like card only.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh
So
yeah.
I mean that's so
And
again,
toll
like
booths and every place else.
yeah. So what happens if those places that are like anti-cash and you lose your,
Hmm.
you better be doing it right then, sir.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why it's so serious. But people try and skate by. Oh, it's just a survey. I'll just answer it, whatever. It's like, no, you
Oh
can't
no,
just do that.
yeah, exactly. So, but as consumers, obviously there's ways that we can save, like you said, look for the lock,
Yep.
obviously make sure that it's a vendor that's trusted that you're working with or you're
Hmm.
buying from. Um, and then I don't know, will it say like if they're PCI compliant at the bottom of the screen or anything? I know like you try to limit the amount of information that you're giving
No, you
to.
don't say you're PCI compliant. If you're taking a credit card, you better be PCI compliant. And if you're not, I mean, there's really no way to tell, but um,
Yeah.
the assumption is if you are on, especially if you're a major retailer like an Amazon or one of those, you have to be PCI compliant. There's no way around it.
Okay.
So,
So, and a quick question, because I was wondering this, I don't know, it just popped in my head. Crypto, how does that
right.
work? PCI compliance. Is that a thing or is it not
No,
compliance
that's its
or
only payment card industry. So crypto really has no regulation around it, and that's really scary.
yeah, that's what I
So,
figured.
yeah.
Um,
So if you're paying with crypto on a shopping site, who knows how it's secured. Now, typically, if they're also taking credit cards, it's going to be PCI compliant. But there is
yeah,
nothing to say that, on a crypto site that they have to do anything if it's pure crypto.
interesting.
Yeah. Yep.
Sure,
All
if at some point.
right. On that note, I think we had a good podcast. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say yes.
All right. Well, say goodbye to the good people, Nikki.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Cyber Reality Podcast. We had fun. It was informative. Shared some good news. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We got more work to do, so no bar time right now. But you all have a great day. Thanks. Bye.